Hey everyone, welcome back to Anime Sekai Podcast. I'm your host, Mikan, and I'm here with the amazing.
Ichigo here. What's up, guys?
Hey guys. Join us this week as we discuss anime influence on Western animation and vice versa. Hey guys, thanks for joining in. So, this week we're going to be talking about how anime has influenced Western animation and how Western animation has also influenced anime. So, first off, I just want to start with what comes to mind when it comes to American animation and cartoons do you think of when you think they're influenced by anime?
The first two for me is Teen Titans, the original, the
Yeah,
OG Teen Titans, and Avatar The Last Airbender.
100%.
Those are my top two. Because
I
those you
agree.
can tell they were heavily influenced by anime.
Mhm.
100%.
I know Murakami Glenn.
Mm-hmm.
He's an American animator, but he takes a lot of influence from Japanese style and whatnot. And I know he's produced and directed like part episodes of Teen Titans.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I totally agree with you there.
Glenn Murakami also did Batman. There was a Batman, the
I
animated
think so.
series that was anime inspired.
Hmm.
As well as, I don't know if you remember this. I watched this as a kid. This was one of my favorite shows. Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi.
I know of it, but I've never watched it.
Oh my gosh.
I've seen the images and
Hmm.
but I've never never watched it.
Yeah, I watched it religiously on Cartoon Network.
Oh, yeah.
It was a
Yes,
cute
that
little
yeah.
show.
That's definitely inspired by Japanese style anime, I would
Yes.
say.
Hi Hi Puffy Ami Yumi was surrounded by a Japanese band. I don't know what style per se, but
Oh,
I know that they were like a duo, music
okay.
duo, and they actually did the opening song for Teen Titans. So it was
Oh,
like Teen Titans came out, and then they did the opening song for them, and then later on down the line, a couple of seasons into Teen Titans, they had their own show
I
where
see.
Ami and Yumi were the two characters' names, and I think they were the actual names of the band members. And the band, if I remember correctly, the band is called Hi Puffy Ami Yumi, which is super
That name
cute.
is really cute.
Super cute. Now, there's so many. Following the Avatar The Last Airbender, they also had The Legend of Korra.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was also heavily anime influenced.
I feel
They've
like Teenage
done,
Mutant Ninja Turtles,
uh-huh,
that was also Castlevania was like a more recent one, not recent, but like a few years back,
yeah. The
a little newer
the
than the ones we mentioned.
the
But
Netflix
that's
one.
definitely, yeah, that's definitely like heavily anime influenced.
That one's pretty much anime style,
Yeah.
a little bit closer to anime style. The first time I watched it, I thought it was a Japanese anime. I
Hmm.
didn't know it was not Japanese, I
Yeah,
guess.
I agree. It kind of
I'm
does.
like,
Yeah, it has that.
it'll throw you off real quick. But there are so many, and I think it's actually a good thing that, anime has become such a popular medium that now Americans cartoons are starting to pick up that animation style.
Hmm.
There are so many, from Netflix to Cartoon Network to even Nickelodeon, that have these people who have were so influenced by anime and Japanese culture that when they created these shows, that was the first thing that they had in mind. And you don't necessarily see too many Japanese anime that's influenced by American shows, but there are some.
There are some. I mean, I feel like the style more so. Like for instance, I watched Cyberpunk on Netflix,
Mhm.
and that was rated really well, and I understand why. It's pretty dark, has that futuristic edge to it, and it is based on Cyberpunk 2077, the video game. I will say, like, a lot
Mhm.
of video games, more so than anime, a lot of times video games have sort of inspired the different cultures.
I think when you're talking about video games, it could be more so Japanese style video games that have influenced American games,
Mhm.
but it could also be said vice versa. Like, there are quite a few Japanese games that are heavily influenced by American
Yeah.
video games, you know what I mean? The main one that I can think of that blends is Kingdom Hearts.
Ah, okay, yes, Kingdom Hearts, of course, that's a classic.
I feel like that game is the perfect blend of Japanese style anime meets American cartoons because Kingdom
Yeah.
Hearts brings in Disney as well to the
Yeah, it does, they just
storyline.
mix it all together. Yeah, no, I agree,
Mhm.
that's definitely a I mean, that's a huge one when it comes to games.
They even had a lot of, Japanese singers, well, there's one main one.
Oh,
Um
Utada Hikaru, my
Uh-huh,
girl.
uh-huh.
Oh, my girl.
She sang the opening for the I believe it's the first video game, Simple and Clean.
Yeah.
The first Kingdom Hearts game she did, and that game right now, if you think America meets Japan video game world, that's the first game that pops into my head,
Yeah.
and
I
I
mean, that
love
was like
that
a
game.
collaboration, so I totally
Mhm.
understand. I know toy animation, like even in the 60s and 70s, they started collaborating with American companies
Yep.
to create animation. And I believe like even Transformers, they collaborated with
Yep.
an American animation company and they continue to do so. I think they did quite a bit of those kinds
Transformers
of
has had so many TV shows, girl.
yeah.
I can't keep
It
up.
has. I don't yeah, honestly, that whole Transformers saga, I have no idea. There's, like, so many of them. I don't even know. I
I
mean,
wanna say they did
they were
a
from the '80s.
Transformers, yeah, they're from the '80s, but I wanna say they did a Transformer anime that reminded me of Gundam.
Oh, yes. I feel like that Transformers, even, like, the original Transformers they made was, like, truly established the mecha style,
Mhm.
and, there's, like, yeah, a bunch of Gundams.
Gundam was so big here. It did get really big back in the '80s and the '90s, and I wanna say is it was probably because it was so similar to Transformers, like, that was the
Mm.
time of Transformers that when Gundam came out, it kinda just took off. But I wanna say the only network that I will say has a lot more anime style cartoons for kids now is Cartoon Network.
Oh, yes.
And a lot of the newer shows that I'm seeing previews for,
Mhm.
or have even watched myself, have that anime style. I think it's great. It's a lot less 100% anime style, but you can tell in certain scenes.
Uh-huh.
You're like, the way that a character moves or the way that the
Yeah.
character may
And the
talk.
way they emote and stuff is much
Uh-huh.
more yeah, I
Definitely
agree.
anime style. So I'm like, okay, okay, I see the influence. I see
It's nice.
the people who are creating this are anime fans. Great, that is awesome. I love it. I really do.
I mean,
Mhm,
cartoons, in my personal opinion, and we talked a little bit about if anime is for adults and children, if you guys
mhm.
listened to last week's episode, but,
Yes.
I feel like well, now it's kind of changing, but in American style, it's either cartoons are for kids specifically or
Mhm.
for adults.
Right,
Like, the
right.
middle wasn't really there back in the day, although now I feel like it's happening more and more, but anime really wasn't catered toward like young kids or like older adults. It was very much in the middle, teens and adults,
Mhm,
which I feel is
mhm.
very different. And that's why the style of cartoons, in my personal opinion, in America is like really different because it's either for children or like for adults.
Right. Okay, so this is what I'm thinking. With Cartoon Network, how they're adding a lot more cartoons, American cartoons that have that anime style, it's almost like an introduction for younger audiences because
Mhm.
like I said in last week's episode, there aren't too many strictly anime shows for children.
Yeah.
So these shows are created, these American cartoons are created with an anime style. Maybe it gets the kids interested in anime as they get older. They eventually end up in the anime community, is what I
Yeah.
would like to think.
Yeah. I mean, no, I do agree. I do agree. And I for me, what I always thought was interesting is I feel like the way anime, in my personal opinion, is influenced by Western culture or like American culture is not necessarily their style format, but the way they portray like characters. And what I mean
Mm,
by that is I think although a lot of anime is basically the location or the setting is in Japan, the
mhm.
characters are not necessarily Japanese. Most of them are blonde and blue eyed, you know, or you have like
Mhm.
crazy colored hair, and some animes where you can actually tell that there are different races.
Right.
And I feel like that where they get the influence from, not necessarily the anime style or like the style of animation. It's like the characters that they use are taking from outside of Japanese culture.
Right, right. I would agree with that. But I had also read a long time ago that,
Mhm.
and I don't know how true this actually is, but I had read a long time ago that a lot of anime, the characters are technically supposed to be Japanese, just depend unless they outright in the show say this character is from this country.
The
You
thing is,
know?
I know like major mangakas have stated, like for instance, One Piece. He stated like Luffy is not Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that.
So,
I think there's
yeah.
a new live action coming. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like all the characters are not Asian. I think Zoro's the only one. He's because he's a samurai, basically. Well, it's supposed to be like emulating a samurai. Um,
Yeah.
but like other artists or mangakas have mentioned that they're technically not Japanese.
I get that,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, but it's because the
but
setting and their etiquette and all their
yes,
characters are
their
basically
mannerisms,
yeah.
everything.
And what's funny
So
is if you actually ask there's like an interview a long time ago. If you actually ask Japanese people whether the characters are like Japanese, many of them say no. While if you ask people outside of Japan, are these characters Japanese? They say yes. So I guess
mhm.
it's just who's watching it.
Well, and I think it's because it's everybody knows it as Japanese anime, so it's like these characters are Japanese.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but that that actually reminds me, I don't know if you're still watching Undead Murder Farce, the new anime that just came out. In one of the more recent episodes, the two main characters are in France, right?
Oh.
And I don't know, this is just one of the funniest lines to me because I was like, really? As many of you know, we watch our anime in sub,
Mhm.
and so I was watching this episode. Mind you, everybody's speaking Japanese.
Okay.
They are set in France, but everybody
Yeah.
is speaking Japanese. And one of the characters that the two main characters are talking to, he goes, "Your all's French is so perfect." But he says it in Japanese.
Yeah.
And, one guy was like, "Oh, yeah, she had to beat the French into me so that I could speak it perfectly." But he's
Mhm.
saying it in Japanese, and I'm like, "What
Japanese,
part
yeah.
of this is French?"
Yeah,
Because all three of y'all are speaking Japanese right
yeah.
now. But there's so many anime episodes where they do that kind of comedic, like, "Oh, I am speaking a different language,"
Yes,
but they're still
I
speaking
agree.
Japanese.
I forgot what show it was, but actually, I didn't realize till, like, way later episodes, technically, they weren't speaking the same language, but I didn't notice that, and that was a valuable part of the story. Oh, what was that called? I can't remember, but there was an anime. Basically, the main characters are not speaking the language like some of the other characters,
Okay. So then if that's the
but
case,
they're
how are
all in
they
Japanese,
communicating?
so
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
but they're all in Japanese.
Yeah,
So there's like parts where the characters are not understanding each other, and I was really confused because I'm like, why are they not understanding each other? But
yeah,
later on, I realized, oh, they're speaking technically in the story, they're speaking different languages.
right. Now, do you think that Japan's anime has been influenced by American cartoons?
I do think there is some aspects. I would say more so like what we talked about before. It's like the characteristics that they take versus like animation style. Because I
Mhm.
do feel like animation style anime is very specific to Japan.
Right.
But I do think, like, once again, there are some stories like Cyberpunk, those kinds of styles that are a little bit more taken from like a American style animation.
Right. So what I'm referring to is Japan creating anime based off of
Yeah,
American shows.
American. Yeah.
Right. So there are actually a couple or several. The number one, and I could not find any episodes of this show anywhere.
Okay.
So if y'all find it, let me know because I'm actually interested in seeing this. So Disney's Lilo and Stitch was huge in Japan.
Mm,
Huge.
yeah.
So big, Japan made an anime.
Oh, you mean like their own version?
No, it was not Lilo. It was Lilo is older. Lilo, Nani, everybody is older. Stitch somehow ends up in Japan. He ends up in Okinawa and he meets this little girl called Yuna and he ends up living with Yuna. And so it is a story about Yuna
Oh,
and
wow.
Stitch.
They
And the show
literally
is, yes,
made their own
they
version.
literally was like, we are going to make our own anime adaptation of Stitch. But instead of it being Lilo and Stitch, it's just Stitch with an exclamation point at the end.
Oh,
Yeah. And I have been trying to find this show for forever. I cannot find it. And I think they
interesting.
had 2 seasons. And from what I could find online about the show is the story takes place with Yuna and Stitch, and then it's got
Yeah.
Jamba and Pleakley and pretty much all of them are now all in Okinawa.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was actually interesting
Interesting.
because
That
it's
kind of,
definitely anime style, like
yeah.
Pokemon anime
That kind of
style.
reminds me of like like they did like a Japanese Avengers or like some
Mhm.
Marvel stories, like I think X-Men as well.
Yep. They did
Oh, you know what's
X-Men. They've done Batman, another show that they did an anime adaptation, Powerpuff Girls.
oh, yeah.
It was called, I think, Powerpuff Girl Z
Oh,
or
yes. No,
Powerpuff
I've
Z or
I've
something
seen
like that.
the yeah.
That ran for a couple of seasons, I think.
Oh.
But yeah, Powerpuff Girl Z was a whole anime based on the American show
Mhm.
Powerpuff Girls. But it was almost like they turned them into my whole shoujo.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of
I could
weird.
see
I have
that.
seen just a couple of episodes. So rather than them just being born with these powers like the American cartoon,
Yeah.
they had like these, I believe they were watches or something that they pressed and then they turned into the Powerpuff Girls.
I see. I could totally see
Is
that. I feel like that's
yeah.
something Japan would like. That vibe itself is something Japan would like Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, Powerpuff Girls was a vibe. I
That was
love
so
Powerpuff
cute.
Girls.
That was really cute.
So, yes, they did, X-Men, like you said, they've done. I
Haven't
want
they
to
done
say
this
you
might be
said
my
what?
imagination, but
Uh-huh.
wasn't there like a Kim Possible anime style? It was like a fan thing because I remember there was like
Oh,
I
that's a good
remember
question.
seeing this Kim Possible anime style, but I can't remember if that was like a fan show. But I do remember they had like episodes out. Maybe that was fan made
Um,
actually.
that is a good question. It might have been fan made because I don't remember ever seeing that.
I need to Google that. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be kind of cool though.
Yeah,
I
I
would
feel
love
like
to
that'd
see
be
a Kim
pretty cool.
Possible anime. As long as they don't make it an isekai,
Oh God,
I wanna see that.
I
Oh,
feel like they
speaking of
would.
isekais, they're making Suicide Squad an isekai.
Oh my God, wait. I feel like I saw a little trailer
Clip?
thing for this, or like yeah, a clip or something. Wait, is that
Yep.
really happening?
Yes. And it's gonna be Harley Quinn and the Joker, and somehow they end up getting isekai'd.
I
I'm like,
can't.
of all
I
the things, like this would be such a good anime, but of all the things, y'all want to turn that into an isekai?
As you're reading this, I'm having flashbacks of literally seeing this, and I feel like my brain
Yes.
just said, "Forget it," like just erase it from my memory because I was like,
I'm
"No."
bringing it back because the trailer, the anime, and the graphics look bomb. They look
Yeah,
fire. Not gonna
I
lie.
remember.
But the scene where Harley Quinn somehow takes out a gun and starts shooting at lizard people, I was confused.
Oh my god.
I was like, what is this? It's like they took
Why?
Suicide Squad and just a random isekai and they was like, you know what? This is a good idea. Let's
Yeah,
just
who thought
put
that?
these two together.
Who thought that? We need to have a talk.
Girl, oof.
What is it with
And
these
that's coming
them
out soon.
and isekais? Like, why? That would
I
have
don't
been a
know.
good anime on its own. You know what I mean? Like, you could
Yes.
just Harley Quinn. Like, oof, you. It
I
would be
actually think
so
a
good.
lot of the superhero like American superheroes, I think a lot of
Yeah.
them would be good in an anime. I know they did
Oh
an
yeah.
anime style recently. Somebody sent this to me and I don't know how I feel about it, but they did an anime style of Superman. And I think that's
Oh. Uh huh.
actually being shown right now or you can stream it now. There is a scene where Superman transforms into his little Superman costume.
Oh, isn't it like
And
Sailor Moon?
Yes. Did you
Yeah,
send
I
this to
saw that.
me?
I think I sent that you to me. I was dying. That was so funny.
You thought it was funny. I was sitting there like, what is this? Why did they give Superman a Mahou Shoujo transforming
Oh my
sequence?
god.
All he had to do was just rip off his suit like he normally does. Like, what is this?
I feel like these animators, they're just so stressed. They need to have some fun, you know? They're like, let's not take this too seriously. Let's just have a good
But
time.
that could be said with a lot of adult American cartoons like Family Guy, The
Hmm.
Simpsons, all of those type of shows. I think American Dad, they all had a anime parody
Oh, yeah.
in each of these shows. Even
Uh-huh.
Rick and Morty, I love Rick and Morty, but in the I believe it was the last season that they did, not the I think they're continuing, but the latest season that they
Hmm.
did, Rick and Morty were like, "We're gonna give you a Sailor Moon sequence," and they gave the dad a Sailor Moon sequence, and I was
Oh,
sitting watching this episode like, "No, they didn't." Anytime I see a Sailor Moon sequence in any sort of parody, I'm really sitting here like, come on now.
no, that
Come
makes
on.
sense. Oh my god. You know what that reminds me of? Well, I don't know where this came. Do you know Hero Man? It's an
No,
anime. But,
no.
oh my god, this anime was so underrated in my personal opinion. It's basically I think it's based in America, sort of based on LA from my memory, but the main character, oh, was it Joey Joseph? Something like that. He has, like, a robot. You know Big Hero 6? He kinda the robot kinda reminds me of, like, an adult version of Ma
Ah,
Baymax. I think it was created by Stan Lee, actually. Yes,
they could have
yes,
been
now it's coming to
influenced
me.
by each other.
I think it was actually created by Stan Lee and hold on, I gotta look this up. Yes, Stan Lee and Bone.
Wow.
Yes, and it was called Hero Man, and I feel like it was so underrated. Most people don't know this anime, but I really liked it. I thought it was really good.
I'm gonna have to look that one up.
Yes, it's really cute.
Well, speaking of Baymax, that's also another show.
Big Hero 6, so good.
Yeah,
I
Big Hero
love
6
that
is
movie. I
definitely
love it.
anime influenced.
Oh yeah, I need
And
more anime like that because oh, I love it. I love it.
it was so cute. Well,
It is.
Disney, there was supposedly some controversy surrounding Disney's Lion King.
Oh,
And don't know how the controversy started, but the controversy is basically Disney,
is that
quote
Kimba?
unquote, ripped off Kimba. Yep, Kimba the
Uh-huh.
White
Yeah.
Lion. And this was actually very recent when the controversy came out. And I think Disney had to release a statement saying that they didn't copy Kimba or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know if it was Disney or basically somebody was like, they're not the same. We didn't
Yeah.
copy Kimba the White Lion, even though Simba and Kimba are very close
Yeah.
to each other.
Who did not think of that?
Just saying.
Honestly. I mean, the story itself is not all like completely the same. I will agree with
Mhm.
that, but I agree. There are some similarities there
Similarities.
that you
Yep.
can't deny.
Yep. I do like the fact that both cultures are kind of doing I don't want to say a give and take, but I like the fact that anime itself has heavily influenced American audiences to the
Mhm.
point where now, I don't want to say heavily influenced, but anime has influenced
Influence, yeah,
American
certain parts.
audiences so much so that now cartoon styles are shifting ever so slightly
Yeah,
to not be 100% anime style, but at least an anime type style that's made for kids.
I agree. I do feel like as stories become more complex and intricate, they do take on more of like an anime style because I do feel like, in my personal opinion, anime is a little bit more story based and serious. Versus, I feel a lot of American cartoons are more about like comedic relief as well as like
Mhm.
episode by episode story based, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah, yeah. It's
And
not really
so,
giving you
yeah,
life lessons.
yeah. I mean, they give like little cutesy life lessons, but it's not like each story is always like connected to one main type of story.
Character. Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like there are some out there though
Oh,
that
yeah, 100%.
are anime the animation style is close enough to anime that I guess I would consider it.
Mhm.
And then where the main character kinda goes through trials and tribulations, they go up and down, and then they give the kids life lessons.
Yeah.
But like you said, a lot of American cartoons, especially the ones that we grew up on outside of anime, is just episode based. So each
Mhm.
episode is just kind of there to draw the kids' attention, keep it for 30 minutes, and then move on to the next story. If they
Yeah.
did have, well, I know they did, but the only life lessons that I could think of that were mostly portrayed in a lot of the different cartoons: be nice to everybody, don't bully people, treat
Yeah.
everybody with respect, treat everybody the same type thing. Where
Yeah,
I
I
feel like
agree.
now, just kind of the different show, but maybe kind of the same life lessons, quote unquote.
I feel like they
But
talk about more deeper things as well.
nowadays they do
They do,
in
yeah.
cartoons, but it's just straight up poking fun.
I agree. It feels like I'm watching, I don't know if everyone knows Gintama. Like
Yes.
there I'm telling you, when Gintama gets serious, it is so good. But that's like 3
Mhm.
episodes. Then literally other 100 episodes are just funny,
Mhm.
but there's no like continuous, I mean there kind of is in the background, but there's no full on continuous storyline like other animes typically have. And it
Yeah.
just for me, it just doesn't grab my attention like I want it to.
Right, right. Or like Psyche K, where it's like it has its serious moments, but it's more of comic relief.
Mhm.
So, but I want to see a little bit more serious stories
Oh, same. I
from
I agree.
American cartoons that have like those life lessons, kind of like the anime style. But I think there's always going to be those two cartoon esque mediums. You're always going to have either American style cartoons or you're always going to have Japanese
Yeah.
anime. And then whatever comes in the middle, American, Japanese style cartoon anime shows,
Mhm.
those are going to be the one that's like you have your comedic moments, but then it's also got your serious moments, and it follows an actual storyline with the main character, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So,
And I think
I mean, just like
Americans,
Avatar.
yeah, no. I feel like for Americans, it's more so they do that with movies than they
Mhm.
do with animated TV shows.
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess the medium's just different.
Right.
So,
But I
and I
love
guess
how
the consumer is different.
yeah, the consumer is different, the mediums are different, but I love how they are slowly coming together
Yeah, I agree.
to create
Making better
almost like a
stories.
third medium, make even better stories, create a third medium for even broader amount of different audiences. So I will
Mhm.
say I think that there is an equal amount of influence on both cultures
Yeah.
for the other, you know? It's great. I would like to see a few more anime shows that were influenced by American cartoons.
Mhm.
Especially some of the like cartoons that we grew up on. I would like to see
Yeah, I
those in
agree.
anime style.
Same, that'd be really cute.
To be honest with you, I would actually like to see a lot of the Disney princesses in anime style.
Yeah, that would be cute. I mean, I feel like people have drawn them, but, like, to actually see
Hmm.
them in a show or whatnot, yeah, that'd be really cute.
I've seen so many Disney princesses in an anime style, and whoever is drawing those, if you are drawing these Disney princesses in these anime style, you guys are awesome because they look amazing. They really do.
Guys, let us know what American cartoon would you guys like animated into anime style? I'm honestly curious to hear what everyone has to say. We need more fusions.
Yes. Do you think American cartoons are heavily influenced by Japanese anime? And if so, which ones that we didn't mention should we check out?
Let us know, guys. And be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Anime Sekai Podcast. Thank you guys for listening in. We hope to see you next week.
Yes.
Bye,
Come
guys.
back.
Come in, come back.
Thanks for stopping by and thanks for joining us. See you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.